Namaste. I am Krishnan, a retired professor from the Maharaja Sajarao University of Baroda. I taught archaeology there for about 33 years. I became a student of archaeology in 1980. That was after the completion of my bachelor's in chemistry. And I had some reading of archaeology before I came to the subject. And I knew that archaeology has a lot of multidisciplinary approaches. And I wanted to try my skills as a chemist to see how I can contribute to the subject of archaeology. So after this completion of my master's degree, I started working on for my PhD. And for my PhD, I took up a topic which involved a lot of analysis of that is analytical methods that are borrowed from the subject of geology and subject of chemistry. What I was trying to do is that I was trying to understand the technology of the Harappan ceramics. So primarily I took samples from three sites, like mature Harappan site, a late Harappan site, and a post Harappan site. I can't even say post Harappan, it's a late Harappan site only because two time periods of a late Harappan site. Now, this work gave me some kind of interesting results, like about the provenance of the ceramics and also about the pigments that are used for decorating the ceramics, and then also something about the baking temperature that was there. So I was in a position to understand and reconstruct the manufacturing process of Harappan ceramics. That was to begin with. Then I realized that there are much more scope to do this thing because ceramics form a very important component of archaeological analysis, archaeological assemblage, and analyzing it in a traditional way and also in scientific way can throw light into great many things. And I noticed that there is specialization in the ceramic industries. It evolved as a full-time kind of occupation among the people of the Indus Valley civilization and also at a historic period. It was a full-time specialization because you need vessels in every house and it has to be made, and unless and until you are a specialist, you cannot make varieties of vessels. Some of them which are cooking vessels, some of them are serving vessels, some of them are storing vessels. So something of that kind of study I started pursuing, and in between I also tried to look at the paleoclimate changes and did some study on the prehistoric archaeology and tried to reconstruct climate for a specific period towards the Holocene period. Then I also encouraged some of my students to work on metal artifacts and all. And the most important thing that I had to do is that to develop a methodology for doing this petrographic analysis. That is, what I did was, I did microscopic study, that is preparing a thin section of the ceramic, which is around 20 to 30 microns thick, and then trying to look at the mineralogy of the sand grains which are present in that one, and also the texture of those minerals. So here, it was visible, and then how does what kind of meaning that you assign to it for a person who is looking at the cultural development and all those things. For this, I had to develop a methodology, and that methodology was developed by working with several potters from different parts of the country, and also in different parts of Sri Lanka. I visited many potters and tried to see how they are working, and collected samples from every stages of their production and prepared thin sections of it, and I noticed what were the changes taking place from the beginning to the end and tried to see them how it is represented in the thin section. Now, so that goes on like that. Now what we need to do is that we have been doing isolated studies of archaeological ceramics or any kind of archaeological materials. We have been doing isolated studies. What we need to do now is that we need to integrate it, and also the excavations that we are doing, I think we need to incorporate multidisciplinary approach in the excavation, any kind of archaeological work, because archaeological work cannot be done by using a single method, because what you are trying to understand in archaeology is you are trying to understand the evolution of human behavior. And human beings have been interacting with nature and different components of nature, and we need to see how they were interacting with that. And for which we need to understand, we need to incorporate several disciplines and bring it to archaeology and try to integrate it. And what basically at this age and all those things, when I am looking at the subject, I think that there is lot of scope, lot of challenges and lot of prospects in this particular subject, where people from multidisciplines, any kind of disciplines, be it be music or be it be technology or be it be medicine or any kind of subject, there are opportunities for all kinds of these people to come and work with the archaeological materials and see how the dynamism of past cultures, especially about the civilizations and also the early historic part, because that is our past and our footing is on that particular past. And if we can understand that past, I think we can do better in our future. Thank you very much.